Troop meeting general outline. So just some quick tips before I get started. You want to make sure that you create a consistent troop meeting schedule for the girls just to keep that consistency and routine going for them. It allows them to feel more comfortable, aware, and confident in what's going to be happening each day. It helps them feel safer as well. For when the girls first arrive, you want to be in an area where parents and the girls can visibly see you, and the girls can be checked in by their parents. And you want to make sure that you have some sort of record keeping of their attendance. So whether that's you personally marking them off or having the parents check them in, but ensuring that the parents also check them out, or you checking them out. So whatever it is, just make sure that it's consistent and that it matches day in and day out for each meeting. You want to be there to welcome the girls and ask them if they need to use the restroom or drink water prior to being checked in, so that way they don't have to use the restroom during the program. And you also want to provide parents with some sort of setup where they can find more information about Girl Scouts. So having a table set up with brochures, pamphlets, and different handouts as well. And also, as a leader, being aware of any common questions that parents may have can definitely allow you to feel more prepared when parents do come up to you and ask you any questions or concerns. Once your girl has been checked in, you want to have them be in a designated area that allows them to be safe and secluded from the general check-in area, just to ensure that the girls are not walking in and out of the troop meeting area. So having a troop leader with them at all times while you're checking in the girls is definitely a way to organize your check-in process. And having the troop leader give them instructions on what will be happening. So whether that's sending the girls over to a table area or having the girls sit in a circle, however it is, having the troop leader there to help answer any questions. Your pre-activity can look completely different each meeting. So for example, you can have a coloring sheet one week, a singing tree the other, and play a game the other. What you want to do though is you want to incorporate whatever your program is going to be into the pre-activity. So introducing them to the material, but making sure that it's brief and that it's not too time consuming, so that way you have enough time to get to your program details. Once you have done your pre-activity, you can go ahead and jump into your introduction and opening up your troop meeting. So just to ensure that everybody knows what your name is, introduce yourself, and then introduce any new girls. If you feel that it is necessary, you can go ahead and have each girl introduce themselves and remind everybody what their names are. This just allows the girls to feel comfortable and welcomed as well. After that, you want to go ahead and remind the girls what you will be doing during your troop meeting that day. You can use this time to ask them questions where they can guess, like, oh, what do you think we're going to learn about today, girls, based on our pre-activity, for example. And then using that time to also establish and remind them of the rules. So taking that time to remind them that the rules are important and that they do need to be followed. After you're done with that, you want to go ahead and recite the Girl Scout promise and the law. And once you have done that, you can go ahead and jump into the program. Some tips for when you are running the program: you want to incorporate Girl Scout processes. So that's girl-led, learn by doing, and cooperative learning. So for example, the Girl Scout promise, you could have a girl lead you in the Girl Scout promise. You could also have a girl lead the entire troop in a song or in a game. Whatever it is, you want to incorporate these things and plan these things out ahead as well. Once you have done the Girl Scout promise and the law, you are free to jump into whatever activities that you have. So you want to have rotations or some sort of setup where the girls are interacting with one another, but they're also learning and doing something hands-on. So for example, you can have a game in one rotation and then a story time in the other rotation, or you can simply have all of your girls have the story time at that same time and then do the game at the end. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that you have something interactive and exciting for the girls, so that they're just not sitting there and listening the entire time, but that they're standing up and singing or playing or whatever it is. Once you have done that, you want to go ahead and close up your. For closing, you want to encourage the girls to participate by having some sort of incentive program, whether that's giving the girls their own personal sticker or making a tally mark next to their name on a chart. Whatever it is, you want to encourage them to participate by giving them some sort of prize. After you have reviewed the questions, you can go ahead and close your meeting up. You can also take this time to ask the girls if they enjoyed their meeting or what they want to go over in the future, giving them that sense of ownership on what's going to be happening during their troop meetings. You also want to make sure that you have enough time to clean up. So whatever it is that you use during the program, make sure that you put it all away and that you take it with you if you are using a remote location. And remind the girls that Girl Scouts always leave a place cleaner than they found it. So having some sort of cleanup process, giving the girls each one of their own responsibilities and reminding them not to only take ownership on their own personal space area, but the area in general, and doing it step by step. For example, first we're going to clean up the scissors, and once the scissors are all cleaned up, then we're going to go ahead and clean up all the paper, just as an example. Once your area has been cleaned, you can go ahead and start the dismissal time. You can either have the girls in that area and have the parents come to that location, or if you're a little bit more distant, you can go ahead and walk the girls up. Just make sure that it's consistent the entire time. And then if there are any girls that are late for pickup, then you just want to remind the parents to be on time in the future, and there should always be 2 troop leaders with the girl at all times. My biggest takeaway from the troop meeting general outline for you is definitely to keep it consistent, and definitely to keep a plan available. That brings me to creating a lesson plan and an agenda. You want to go ahead and plan ahead prior to each troop meeting, and that's because you want to make sure that everything is smooth and that you're prepared for anything that could possibly happen. And this just gives the girls a better quality program, and that's essentially what we aim to do. We want to provide her with the best possible experience that they can have. So make sure that you have all the materials that you might need. Think about all the activities that you could have. Thinking about the space, if you have enough space for a game, for example, and if you're going to have to tailor any changes to your program. For example, if you will be leading program online, then you would have to incorporate things that the girls could do via virtual, or if you will be meeting in person, ensuring that you have enough space or enough supplies or whatever it is. Don't forget that you also have your volunteer toolkit available to you as a resource, and that can help you organize, plan your troop meetings, events, ceremonies, and so much more. You also want to create a time outline. So setting a certain time frame for each of the activities, maybe taking 10 minutes only for your pre-activity, 10 minutes for your introduction, 20 minutes for your actual program time, and then 10 minutes for your closing and cleanup time, for example. Just making sure that you have ample time for each one of the activities, and that your program doesn't lose quality, and that you have enough time for all the materials that you need to cover and all of the rotations, for example. And lastly, you want to make sure that everything remains consistent. Like I've mentioned, it's very important to keep a consistent schedule. This is just helping the girls, the volunteers, and the parents be aware of what's going to be happening each time. And then making sure that you have enough supplies for everyone, and enough supplies for anything that will be happening. For the girls, you want to make sure that they are excited, but you also want to make sure that they are aware of the expectations that are a part of Girl Scouts. And whenever possible, you always want to incorporate the Girl Scout leadership experience by giving them something that's girl-led, learn by doing, and cooperative learning. So thinking about that ahead of time, like I mentioned before, on how to provide a program that encourages them to participate, to lead, and to try new things as well. Establishing rules. So you want to go ahead and explain the rules at the very beginning of every meeting. During the first meeting, you can take that time to create rules, and you want to create a caper chart. So a caper chart is essentially dividing all of the Girl Scout responsibilities in the troop, and it's a job or a chore that has to be done. And then they can vary per troop. It's going to be different within each individual troop, but it gives everybody a responsibility for something. What you can do is you can have your caper chart, and you can rotate the jobs each troop meeting, or you can rotate the jobs monthly. However it is, it can depend on your individual troop and your girls. Having the girls incorporate and brainstorm their different rules and tasks, and for example, can give them that sense of ownership and responsibility. And it can help them remember what the rules are, for example. So making some kind of rule board, whether it's a poster, and having it available and visible during each troop meeting so that the girls can be reminded of what the rules are.